Hello and welcome to another edition of Motor Cars Enthusiasts. Right off the bat on today's show, we've been itching for some Bronco news and not the wild speculation about a lot of things that have been going on the internets. We do have some pretty concrete stuff that's coming up about this particular machine, including the baby Bronco and the full-size Bronco. Now, the Bronco Sport, aka the baby Bronco, according to the folks over at Auto Forecast Solutions, will make its official debut at the New York Auto Show in April, and production will actually start this year in September. Now, according to the folks over at Automotive News, the big Bronco, or the main Bronco, will make its official debut possibly in just a handful of days. It will happen in March of 2020, with the possibility of it going on sale in 2021, early 2021. So we'll definitely keep you in tune. I'm assuming this launch is going to be huge. The other interesting thing, at launch, there's going to be a lot of talk about aftermarket parts or add-on parts that you can get. Apparently 150 personalizable parts can be put on this particular machine, as this vehicle is going to be going right after the Wrangler and the Wrangler faithful. So it's going to be really interesting to see what Ford may have up their sleeve. And apparently they're claiming between these two models, they're going to be selling 200,000 units a year coming up very, very soon. Next up on the list, well, the folks over at Honda showed the refreshed version of the Civic. Now they're showing the refreshed version of the Civic Type R. And you get a limited edition version with the very, very interesting name, the Civic Type R Limited Edition. Yeah, it doesn't get a great name, but it does get this fantastic Phoenix yellow paint that's exclusive to all 600 units that are going to be sold in the US market and the 100 units that are going to be sold in the European market. Now, as far as the hard parts are concerned, that remains the same. Horsepower, all that, suspension, braking, everything will be carryover from the last edition Civic. But the new fascia does increase the cooling, which will help this vehicle to make more power longer and not get a little bit overheated or overexhausted. Now, here's the trick. Basically, what you get for this limited edition package is a lot of weight-saving options. Now, the rear wiper will be removed along with the rear cargo cover, and the heat and air conditioning ductwork that's for the back of the machine are all going to be removed. Honda claims that they can save 28 pounds of weight over the entire automobile. Also, it gets these exclusive, brand new, lightweight BBS wheels. They're claiming they can weigh 18 pounds less between the four, and the four of them are going to be wrapped exclusively in Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2 tires, some of the best performance tires on the planet. They've recalculated the steering, or recalibrated the steering in this particular machine as well. And this is all possibly so this particular machine can try to steal back that front-wheel drive lap record around the Nürburgring Nordschleife circuit, which apparently that's going to be taking place in the next several months. Now, no pricing or availability have been released as of yet, and there's also going to be another Type R model that's going to be a little bit more subdued. The biggest change on that thing is that massive rear wing out back will be jettisoned for something a little bit more mundane. Which I have to say, a Civic Type R without the big wing is kind of not the Civic Type R, unless you want to long-distance travel the machine, which in that case, the fuel economy would probably pay for itself in no time. So it's going to be real interesting to see the take rate on these 600 units. I'm assuming they're going to sell out quite quick. Next up on the list, folks over at Nissan are trying to dip their toe in this whole subscription world. If you haven't seen this whole brand new deal that is subscribing to buying automobiles rather than actually purchasing an automobile, it's a pretty interesting thing. We've seen a ton of manufacturers try it and then get out of it and then possibly get back into it. We'll see if Nissan can actually make a real deal go at this. So here's the deal. If you get the entry level or the entry tier option for the Nissan subscription package for $700 a month, and that's after you've laid down your $500 activation fee, you get to pick from any one of these models for any indeterminate amount of time. If you want to keep one for a weekend, if you want to keep one for a day, this is going to be the option list for you. The entry-level package where you can pick between the Ultimate, the Rogue, the Pathfinder, and the Frontier. Now, you can go up a grade to the upper tier option, which will cost you $900 a month. Now, from that option, you can pick between the Leaf, the Maxima, the Murano, the Armada, the Titan, and the 370Z. Now, you may be looking at me and going, John, geez, you know what? Nissan builds the GTR. Can you get the GTR? Well, yes, you can in the top tier version, but there is a kick because you can only keep it for 7 days at a time, and it will cost you an extra $100 a day. Okay, I'm terrible at math, but $900 plus $700 for just a week of GTR fun, you could almost afford the payments on a GTR. Now, here's the trick. All the other goodies are included. We're talking insurance, maintenance, the whole deal. All you have to do is throw fuel at these things. Because it would really be tough to go to your local agent and go, you know what, this week I'm going to be driving an Altima, next week I'm going to be driving a GTR. So how do you actually make a insurance plan for that? So Nissan's going to take care of all that deal. Now, it's going to be interesting to see just how well the subscription base actually works. But you know what? If you were in a situation where you wanted a vehicle for hypermiling, maybe a Leaf for all electric fun, but then you wanted to get up to a Titan because you wanted to move or do something like that, it could be a very, very good way to go as far as owning an automobile here in the future. Next up on the list, well, Fernando Alonso, the day of the taping of this particular program, actually signed on the dotted line back with McLaren. Yes, we talked about it where he left McLaren several months ago for greener pastures for the month of May. Apparently a deal was almost done at Andretti Autosport, but there is a kicker. Fernando Alonso is a Toyota Gazoo Racing ace inside of the Endurance Championship, the World Endurance Championship, where he'll be taking on that fight, including Le Mans, this year. Well, there's a trick. Andretti Autosport races for Honda, and Honda and Toyota don't really like each other. So, back he will be with Aero McLaren SP, McLaren's brand new group going into the 500, because they're going to have Chevrolet power for the Indianapolis 500. And the trick is, too, is Alonso's going to have two brand new teammates. These are some young guns who've never raced in the big show yet, but this is all good stuff for track time, because if you know about what happened last year at the 500, Alonso and McLaren didn't make the big race. So it's going to be exciting to see what could happen here coming up in the month of May. And more race car news. Let's get back with Ryan Newman, because the day of the taping of this particular program, Ryan Newman has actually visited Roush Fenway Racing's race shop for the first time since the big crash at the Daytona 500. Now, the trick is he has an undetermined head injury, or maybe an undisclosed head injury. I'm not exactly sure what kind of head injury he has. Probably one or more of these concussion protocol things like you see in the NFL. It's going to keep him out of the car for a fair amount of time. He did put out some nice little tweets out on social media platforms showing off him fishing, which is one of his great passions. So it's nice to see him getting back to what he loves. But Ross Chastain is going to be driving the car. He drove it in Las Vegas. He'll be driving it again in California Speedway. And I think he's going to be taking over the ride until Newman comes back to the 6 car, which hopefully will happen in the next several months. And that's all there was that I thought was worth talking about for this edition of Motor Cars Enthusiasts. Don't forget to like us over on the Facebook page. Links down in the show notes. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, you can do so at any time. The first dibs on the brand new shows as soon as they come out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again real soon.